What's going on, you bunch of heathens? We are back with another video. This one from another channel that I've never heard of before, but I do know the dude. I don't know, narrator, whatever you want to call him. Dude has been involved in so many fucking projects. But like the other video, I'm not sure if it's before or after this one. It just caught my eye. Seemed interesting, so I wanted to check it out. So here we are. Make sure you guys go and check out the original video. I'll link it down below. And until next time. Oh, not. That's the outro. Whoops. Let's jump in. Also, before I go, leave comments down below what y'all want to see me react to. Like, do you want to see more history side? Or what? Like, that kind of shit. Like, definitely let me know.
In August 2014, satellite images released by NASA revealed something terrifying. For the first time in modern history, the entire eastern basin of the Aral Sea in Central Asia completely dried up. What was once a spectacular natural body of water, complete with a...
I didn't put the title. It's called, this is the Aral Sea, how the USSR destroyed the largest lake in the world. Sorry, the world's largest lake, whatever. I'm sure you could see it now, but yeah, I forgot to mention that. But still, I knew it was about this, but damn.
Diverse marine life and over 1,000 individual islands.
God, that looks pretty.
1/10 of its formidable former size. And while
how?
This place was now just an empty, barren wasteland, commonly referred to as the Arakan Desert. In some ways, the images also revealed something even starker. They revealed the undeniable consequences of human interference with the Earth's natural features. The former sea straddles the frontier between Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, where for generations it played a key role in the lives of the local populations. But all of that...
Hey yo, hold up. This is the real size of it, and it's that... God damn! How did it shrink so much?
Where for generations...
I'm sure we're about to learn about it, but still...
local populations. But all of that changed in the 20th century with the introduction of ambitious agriculture schemes, which were, well, uniquely Soviet. Kazakhstan was the second largest republic of the USSR after Russia at a monumental 2.7 million square kilometers. Due to its relatively
pretty fucking big, even though I don't really know what a kilometer is.
Soviet-engineered famines, it was largely full of exactly nothing but open plains. Perfect, therefore, to host the sort of most destructive misadventures in human history. In fact, I've covered one of these in a separate video for this very channel.
Ain't no way. God, I gotta check this out then. If I like this video enough and it does well enough, I'll have to check it out.
Another example was the Scientific Research Test Range number 5, usually referred to as the Baikonur Cosmodrome, a place which poisoned surrounding wildlife, caused acid rains, and killed hundreds of people in an accidental explosion in 1960. Yet what became of the Aral Sea was somehow even more dramatic, at least in its toll on the general landscape. You see, aside from nuclear tests and ballistic missile launches, Kazakhstan became the site of a crop-growing experiment intended to help feed the vast Soviet population. The only problem was that any crop yield required abundant provision of water, something not easy to come by in the dry, arid expanses of the Central Asian steppe.
Nope, but you got...
Luck would have it,
luck would have it, we got the world's largest fucking lake.
Kazakhstan happened to be home to one of the biggest bodies of water on the planet. The Aral Sea was the world's 4th largest lake.
There's no way that's the only way. There's no way that it's only agriculture, like watering crops and shit that fucked it up. There's no way.
Fed by 2 major rivers, the Amu Dara and the Sir Dara, which flowed into the region from further south.
Did they like block off the fucking rivers or something?
So, problem solved. Unfortunately, once Soviet plans went into effect, all of what had made the sea so great started to quickly go away. Under Joseph Stalin, plans were drawn up for what became known...
Wait, Aral Sea. So is it no longer considered a sea anymore?
...as the Great Plan for the Transformation of Nature. The plan stemmed from the fact
I don't trust this plan.
Agricultural prospects have been massively disrupted by the conflicts of the early part of its history. Starting with the Russian Civil War, massive infrastructural damage had left the Western USSR economically depleted, and a surge in agricultural activity was needed. The Central Asian steppe had the space within which this could be accomplished, but there was a problem: the weather. The steppe experiences strong winds, which make crop cultivation difficult. This type of wind is known as Sokovy and has a
Sokovy. Okay, I'm going to turn off captions for this video. And Ah, dude, am I weird for finding this random shit really fucking cool?
High temperatures in the summer exacerbate this problem by robbing soil of moisture even
Like, am I weird for that?
making irrigation of major agricultural projects practically impossible. The combined phenomenon is particularly...
Well, yeah, look at, winds will really fuck that kind of shit up. I mean, look at the, God, what was it called in the US? The Dust Bowl. Look at the fucking, have you guys ever seen photos of the Dust Bowl before? Like, if y'all haven't, I'll pull it up now. Dust Bowl. Like, the Dust Bowl is incredibly fucking insane. Here. Where is it? Here. These are photos of the fucking Dust Bowl. Like, it was insane. Like, full-on houses and shit just destroyed because of agriculture and loosening the topsoil and shit. At least I think that was the reason. It's been a while since I learned about it in school. But it is absolutely insane what happened. Dust Bowl is insane.
Particularly acute in South Kazakhstan, where the Aral Sea is located. So to account for this, a reconfiguration of the
Also, is it a salt sea? Or is it freshwater?
Water sourcing in the region was necessary.
That's a big...
So beginning in the 1940s,
that's big.
The rivers feeding the Aral Sea were diverted to be used to grow wheat crops.
Of course.
Initiatives were carried out.
There it is. So I was right. They fucking diverted the river. Because that's a smart thing to do, of course.
In the European portion of the USSR, which collectively allowed the plan for the transformation of nature to enter effect. This was not before causing yet another famine, which severely struck the Moldovan, Ukrainian, and Belarusian SSRs, as well as Russia itself, and resulted in the loss of at least 1 million lives.
Wow. Another fucking famine in a communist country.
But it did allow the acute need for food crops to be met, and some of the wheat
of
fields
course,
in
it only
Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan.
It only cost 1 million fucking lives. Like, how do you simp over, how do people simp over this? How do you simp over a very, very, very fucking clearly failed ideology? So much so that people will fucking run away from it. You have people in the West, in like the US, who will constantly preach how cool and how great the communism is. But then if you go to anywhere in Eastern Europe, they will fucking, you will get beat to hell in the streets even thinking that. Like, go to these fucking places and ask, is communism good? No, it's not.
To yield cotton, something which gathered pace as the most acute need for food began to subside. However, the effects of the redirection of the Amudaya and Sirdara rivers were dramatic. Over time, the volume of the Aral Sea began to decline sharply. From 1961 to 1970, the sea level fell an average of 20 centimeters per year. By the 1970s, this had accelerated to more than 50 centimeters, and by the 1980s, it had shot all the way up to 90 centimeters per year. As mentioned before, the Aral Sea is...
God, 90... Hold up. For us freedom units people, 90 centimeters to... Imperial, let's see. Almost 3 feet. Oh, I could have fucking figured that out. A meter is is about a yard-ish. I could have figured that out. I don't know why I looked that up. So, yeah, that's insane.
Located in both Kazakhstan
shouldn't be a fucking
and
thing.
Uzbekistan, and in some ways, the consequences for Uzbekistan were relatively mitigated. Sure, the sea dried up, but a lucrative cotton industry emerged, which helps to sustain the country's economy to this day. Radio Free Europe estimated that some 2 million Uzbeks from a population of roughly 30...
Yeah, but you kind of... You fucked over nature hardcore. I wouldn't exactly call that a win.
Cotton harvest, and probably because of this, Uzbekistan has never really treated the decline of the sea with much urgency or pursued extensive initiatives to revive it.
Don't get me wrong. I understand that the people are gaining from it, but it won't be a gain if the entire area is gone. That won't be a gain. You're gonna fuck so much shit up. You cannot do this.
Economic benefit was not quite felt comparably by Kazakhstan. Its cotton production is a little over 1/10 of its neighbors. In effect, Kazakhstan saw half of the sea vanish in exchange for very little. Within decades, the Aral Sea had surged to just a fraction of its former self, becoming a little more than a salty puddle. The landscape was transformed into a haunting sight, dotted with ghostly
Oh my god, this is just depressing!
The once thriving fishing industry was kaput, and the dusty remnants of the seabed began to kick up toxic salts and pesticides. This in turn started to create health problems for locals and an environmental headache for the planet. Was all of this foreseeable? Yeah. In fact, the Soviet planners knew that it was bound to happen. For one thing, the drying up of the Aral Sea had been documented at least once before, an account by a geographer from...
I'm sorry. I'm gonna fucking say this. This is depressing as shit, and it doesn't really surprise me. Like, I'm sorry. I know the other countries do this too. Do not misunderstand me. But everything I have learned about the USSR is that they were constantly just going, we do not care. Get it done. Like, they didn't care about this kind of shit. And don't get me wrong. Other countries will do this too. The US isn't free in this either. But holy shit, it is just... The fact that it's still happening to this day, consequences from this, is fucking mind-boggling.
The year 1417 had described such a phenomenon after the Amu Darya and Sir Darya rivers were redirected for other purposes by local rulers. Moreover, as the plan got underway, Soviet scientists had described the drying up of the Aral Sea as inevitable in both 1964 and 1968.
Wait, so it happened before? Sorry, I paused I paused it when he was in the middle of saying that in my rant. If this happened before, that means it's going to be even harder nowadays, but you could technically slowly, you would have to do it slowly, unroute the dams and put them back to where they were to get it back.
By the time communism fell,
technically,
the
I think,
port city of Aralsk was no longer a port city and instead found itself in a desert located more than 100 kilometers away from what remained of the sea. The city became a sort of geographical oddity, with a bemusing assortment of grounded vessels and the rusting shell of what was once a harbour, now punctuated by poverty and the fading mosaics and monuments.
I wouldn't even call this amusing. This isn't even amusing, though. Like, that's the word he used. I don't use amusing for this. This is just sad. Like, so fucking sad that something... Oh, God.
The socialist era. An ironic sight. Perhaps, if it wasn't quite so tragic. So by the 1990s,
I mean, yeah.
the Aral Sea had shriveled
ironic,
up.
if anything, not amusing, though, like you said.
Lake. Two lakes, in fact, since the receding pattern caused the remaining bodies to be split into the North Aral Sea in Kazakhstan and the South Aral Sea in Uzbekistan. The separation occurred around 1987 and remains in place today. But what was just as striking was the environmental impact. The high levels of salinity in water resulted in the effective destruction of all prospects of fishing in what remained of the sea as various species of fish withered and died. Moreover, as mentioned before, the retreating waters left him...
God. This is honestly just reminding me of, I'm sure you've seen him before on YouTube. He's the dude who does random woodworking shit where he'll take... One of his series he does is he's building something from each state tree or whatever. He's a woodworker and whatnot. One thing he's very passionate about, which I agree with, is because I think he lives around the area, and since I used to more or less live around the area, so it's dear to me as well, is the environmental impact of the Great Salt Lake or Salt Lakes near Salt Lake City, Utah. Apparently, it's been drying up and I think it's been drying up and receding. Something big has been going on, and it's been really fucking with the nature of it all around it. And conservation efforts need to be addressed for it. And God. That's just what I'm getting from this. And I don't want to see this happen anywhere else. This is just sad.
Desert. This sand was laced with residues of pesticides and chemicals from the decades of agricultural runoff, and dust storms from the exposed seabed spread pollutants over thousands of kilometers, accelerated by the powerful winds of the steppe. This, like in other parts of Kazakhstan, brought respiratory illnesses and other health problems upon the local populations. Those of you who've watched our Semipalatinsk video will recall that similar destructive health defects have been observed in areas of northeastern Kazakhstan located close to the polygon. Basically, the 70-ish years of Soviet occupation left two sizable chunks of the country hazardous to the populations who'd resided in them for centuries. And the peeling back of the water
what a great country.
Another Soviet-built curiosity located.
And I'm talking about the Soviets. I'm not talking about the actual countries themselves.
What had previously been the island of Rozhredenia in the center of the Aral Sea. This island was home to a laboratory known as Aralsk-7, on which it turned out that the authorities had been testing bioweapons for later use in warfare. The top...
Yeah. I don't know why. Just the name itself just really gave me that impression.
It had been established in 1948 and vacated in 1992, and it tested a variety of destructive agents, including anthrax, smallpox, and tularemia. It was revealed that an accident in 1971 had led to the release of the variola virus, which resulted in the deaths of 3 people. The BBC reported that the facility also killed an untold number of fish and was likely responsible for the sudden death of some 50,000 Saiga antelope in the 1980s.
Jesus!
With the Polygon and Baikonur, Aralsk-7 marked.
And they just abandoned it. What the...
hat-trick of former Soviet facilities in Kazakhstan capable of delivering a dose of death to local residents.
God, what was it? Georgia, I think? Maybe? In the Kyle Hill video. Someone let me know down below. In the Kyle Hill video, you had I want to say an old Soviet source were found by the hikers. He mentioned it in the Kyle Hill video, I want to say. God, yet again, Kyle Hill video. Or at least the apartment, what was it, apartment 7 or whatever? Where it was Soviet, oh, we got to make it look good for the Western audiences, for the West. Fuck everything else and fucking let a source get fucking trapped in a wall and kill a bunch of fucking 2 families.
But the impact of the sea's decline would affect the populations in other ways too. The collapse of the fishing industry centered on the sea led to widespread unemployment and the decline of the local economy. Southern Kazakhstan remains the poorest part of the country to this day. In fact, the region within which the Aral Sea is located, Kazlorda, has a GDP per capita around 1/3 of the capital Astana, and less than 1/6 of that of the wealthiest region, the oil-rich province of Atirau on the Caspian Sea. As had been the case in northern Kazakhstan.
Which sucks because it looks so fucking pretty. It looks so pretty there.
In the 1920s and 30s, entire communities collapsed as villages became landlocked far away from the receding shoreline, and the young departed to pursue greater economic opportunities elsewhere.
While useful, but at the same time, you also have to think, I'm sure people will be like, oh, why don't you just move away from there? That kind of costs money. Not only is like your entire life there, and sure, even if you could get over leaving your entire life behind, it also just costs money to leave. And if you're already poor, you don't have the money to move away from that.
Despite this
so you're just stuck
reality,
there.
Some good news did appear. In the 2000s, a partial revival of the sea occurred following the construction of the Kokoral Dam in 2005, funded by the World Bank. The 12-kilometer-long dike cut the meager flow of water from the North Aral Sea to the south, potentially sealing the fate of the latter, but intending to protect what remained of the former. And it worked. The project helped stabilize the North Aral Sea, raising water levels and helping to bring down the high levels of salinity in the water. This allowed for the return of some species of fish to the sea, which were reintroduced later on in the 2000s.
That's fucking good, but I'm also worried just you sealed off the fucking other rivers that this fed into. Like, what happens to those rivers?
Within 10 years of the dike's construction, the annual catch jumped from around 1,360 tons to over 7,000 tons of freshwater fish.
Oh, that's so fucking good.
Locals were able to make a living from fishing in the sea.
Oh, that's so good.
Also made a comeback and crept back to within 20 kilometers of the city of Aralsk once more. But it's not all good news. While the Kokorah Dam proved a success, further development was needed to bulwark the regeneration of the sea. It was proposed to raise the dike walls by 4 meters, which would allow an additional 15 billion cubic meters of water to accumulate in the North Aral Sea and extend its area by a further 50%. Plans to do this were put forward as the second phase of the World Bank project, but have since stalled, reportedly awaiting approval from the Kazakh government to move forward. In the meantime, there are signs that the water level of the sea may be falling and the salinity of the water is rising once more. In short, despite the positive signs, the revival of the North...
Yeah, despite the positive signs, it's just... It's starting to go bad again.
Aral Sea is very far from assured. Due to the above-average rate of evaporation in the steppes, the sea is reliant on consistent water flow from the Sirdaya River. But that water flow is weak, and it's in perpetual danger of declining further. The river has its source further south in Kyrgyzstan and flows through Tajikistan and Uzbekistan before reaching Kazakhstan's Kyzyloda region. With 4 countries reliant on it, should any one of those decide to repurpose its flow, the consequences for the sea would be swift and grave. And while
it would. It's kind of like God, what was it? Is it Egypt? I think I'm trying to think back to the fucking History of Everything podcast where he did a video on it, on the like quote unquote water wars. I want to say where Egypt was trying to dam up to help produce their economy for the Nile River, but in doing so would fuck over all the other countries that the Nile would help.
Plans
or something like that.
To do so, there is little to say they couldn't. Relations between the neighboring states aren't always great, and agreements on water sourcing have become highly politicized.
Or something along those lines, at least. I might be wrong.
Conferences in the past. And although the International Fund for Saving the Aral Sea, or IFSAS, was established in 1993, composed of Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, and Tajikistan, it is Kazakhstan which remains its most proactive member in endeavoring to resolve the water recession.
Well, yeah, with how much of it is,
Meanwhile, the South Sea in Uzbekistan remains largely a wasteland, with no significant recovery efforts currently being pursued to revive it. There are fears it faces further perils still, as in late 2023, Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev expressed that a canal being built by the Taliban in Afghanistan would lead to a further decrease in the water volume flowing into the Amu Darya, by now the lifeblood of the South Aral Sea. And both Sir and Amu Darya rivers are under threat, with climate change threatening their water content further, something which could wreak untold havoc not only on the sea, but also on Central Asian farming more generally. Experts predict that water carried by the rivers could drop by around 15% in the coming decades. Currently, the Aral Sea Basin has become a draw for environmentalists and curiosity travelers, visiting both for the dramatic lessons and the beauty found in the desolation. It may not be quite the paradise it once was, but its story stands as a powerful lesson on the impact.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind visiting. That'd be cool to see. Like, it's sad, but I'd love to see it.
Thank you for watching.
I mean, fuck, it's kind of like how I kind of want to see Pripyat. Pripyat would be really cool to see, but that was a really fucking good video. Like, really good. Like, I'll definitely have to check out more of their stuff. That was really cool. I enjoyed it. Make sure you guys check out the original video. It'll be linked down below. And fuck, so fucking good. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Yeah. Till next time, you guys take care of yourselves. See ya.